Ready.
Welcome to episode 72 of the Go Get 'em Agility podcast. My name is Margaret Hughes and I'm your host. Who is to blame? Who is to blame when a dog falls off the dog walk? Who's to blame when a dog takes over a tire, like totally crashes it, knocks it over? Who's to blame when a jump goes down? Is it the judge for putting on a bad line? Is it the competitor for failing to see a bad line? Or is it the dog for failing to listen? Well, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter who's to blame, because there's probably somebody in all of three of those, the judge, the competitor, and the dog, that are somewhat at fault, potentially. The bigger question is, who does the dog blame? Right? Dog falls off the dog walk. Who does the dog blame? Who caused that hurt? Who caused that fear? Who caused that mistrust in the equipment? Do they blame the judge? Do they blame themselves? Do they blame the handler? In my opinion, none of the above. They blame the equipment. Last weekend, Eli and I trialed, and Eli first knocked over a jump, just smashed the whole side of it. He was listening really, really well to me, and I told him to check. I told him to turn tight, and boy, by golly, did he, taking down the entire jump stanchion as he tried to manufacture a very tight turn for me. Then, in another run, he fell off the dog walk. Came right off the very top, almost went sideways on it, trying to recapture his balance. And then in a third run, he took down the entire tire. This was all in one day. First a big jump, crash, then the dog walk line caused him to be off balance, and then he just completely misjudged how he took a jump and took down the entire tire. And every single one of those, he looked right at me and said, "I am so sorry." Right? What the heck did that thing just do to me? He didn't blame himself. He didn't blame me. He blamed the equipment. And I think that's what dogs do. I think they're like, holy crud, that thing was terrible. But what's more important to me is that I have built up such a good history on every single piece of equipment that I can over his short 3 years, that he didn't blink an eye, and he did it for me again. So even though I think he blamed the equipment, he was willing to trust me enough, and he's had enough history on all the equipment in all sorts of different funky ways that I ask him to do it, with a lot of distraction, with me in a lot of different location as I'm sending him, or calling him to me, recalling him towards me, lateral distance, forward distance, him in front of me in front of him. I have challenged him over these 3 years with foundation training that helped build up a solid foundation of balance, and building in his footwork, building in his love for stepping on stuff, through stuff, over stuff, around stuff, that he absolutely was okay blaming the equipment and then getting right back on it. And to me, that is the most important thing when I am building these skills up, is that I maintain his confidence that this stuff is safe for him to do, that this is okay for him to travel at the speed that he wants to travel at over, through, and around this equipment. So my message to you is to not worry about the execution of the equipment, especially in the beginning. Worry about the confidence of them working through learning the equipment. Like, build such a strong, strong, strong history with every single piece of equipment. Show it to them in so many different ways that when something yucky does happen on the equipment or near the equipment or with the equipment, that they don't completely lose the ability to get back on, to try again. And I'm not saying every dog has the confidence that Eli has, but I'm telling you now that I trained it for him slowly over the years, that this didn't just happen. His very first dog walk that he ever did, he jumped off. He said, "That's not for me." And I showed him through slow repetition and through a ton of correct, positive answers that he could do it and that he could actually enjoy it. And that's what I want for agility for my dogs and for my students' dogs, is I want them to want to do the equipment, not just tolerate the equipment. Because when they want to do the equipment and they have agency of doing the equipment, then they're more likely to be resilient when things do go sideways, when things don't go how we want them to go in a trial, when accidents happen or misjudgment happens or an imbalance happens while running at 6, 7 yards a second. Even 4 yards a second, 3 yards a second. If a dog becomes unbalanced and comes off the equipment, no matter how fast they're going, I want them to feel safe to get back on it again. And that is why I never force a dog to do any piece of equipment. You will never see me put a leash on and force a dog to do the teeter. You will never see me beg a dog to come up the up ramp. I will reward them, I will support them, I will encourage them, but I will not force them to do it. If they decide to bail, I allow them to bail. And I think that that trust that you build with a dog as an instructor and as an owner handler is so crucial, along with the positive history of seeing equipment at the dog's level and building it slowly really pays dividends in the end. So when mistakes do happen, whether it be a bad line onto the dog walk or just bad handling that creates a bad line onto the dog walk, or dog gets environmental drift, which causes a bad line onto the dog walk, that all of these things that may cause the dog to fumble their feet while on the dog walk isn't the end of their career. That if they fall off or if they decide they can't handle recovering on the dog walk, that they bail off, that they're willing to trust and try again. And that's what Eli did. And he's done it with the same amount of drive and confidence that he did it when he fell off. And I love that. I love that he has that history, and I hope to maintain that history. So if and when these accidents do happen again, that he's totally okay with it. I mean, the tire, the whole frame of the tire came down around him. And the trial staff, the course builders, they all came over. He actually broke the tire. He took a bolt out of the tire, the fabric that holds the tire, to the frame or to the string, to the wire that, does our jump heights. He actually broke it. And so they had to repair it. I don't know what it's called, the cinch that goes from the side of the tire to the frame, he snapped that. It was a pretty bad crash. And I waited for them to fix it. I waited for them to give me the okay to put him through it again. And he did it like absolutely nothing bad had ever happened. And that's the type of dog that I want to raise. That's the type of dog that I want to train my dog to be. And Eli, in this moment, today, is that dog. And I'm so stinking proud of him for trusting me. And I'm proud of myself for training him to trust me, that I will try and keep him as safe as possible on this equipment. But that he loves the equipment that much that even when he blames it, which I think he does, I think he blames the equipment, because I would never do that to him. I think he blames the equipment, that even the equipment that he blamed, he was willing to try again. And I'm just so happy about that. So build a ton of positive repetition with equipment that is not necessarily straightforward. Teach your dogs that they can do equipment from all these funky angles with and without you, without a lot of speed, right? There's not a lot of speed in the beginning, but build in the confidence of the equipment and the clarity of the equipment that builds clarity, builds confidence. And then that confidence builds speed. We do our best to see yucky lines and to either navigate them, handle them, or not even run them. I didn't see it. I knew that the line was a little off, but I honestly thought he would drift out towards me first and then take the line to the dog walk. He didn't. He came straight out of that tunnel, straight on to an angled entrance, and it wasn't much of an angle. Oh my gosh, it was probably 15, 20 degree angled entrance, but it was enough for him to lose his footing and not be able to recover while on the top plank. Once he came out of the tunnel, yeah, there was no stopping it. I was moving, he was moving. It was over before it was even registering in my brain that this is going to be a problem. And the tire, I never even saw that one coming, and I don't think he did either. I have video of it, and he's literally like, oh crap, that's the wrong location for the jump. And there was no fixing it. Once he lifted, he was going in the direction he was going. So I do think the dogs blame equipment. I do think it's okay that they blame the equipment, but I also think it's really, really important that as handlers, we work super, super hard to build as much confidence and as long of a history as possible before they run into those problems. And don't fret if it does happen. We can get them back on the equipment. All right. Happy training. Woof, woof.
Ready.